You know, the joke we keep making within our computer science world, especially in the last few years, is look at AI, it's doing all this. And I'm like, guys, come on, we've been doing AI for 50 years. My name is Khaled Harras. I'm a professor of computer science at Carnegie Mellon University in Qatar. I'm also the senior associate dean for faculty there. My specialization is in systems, particularly networking. I teach different classes related to those areas. My expertise largely would be in terms of research, in terms of like wireless networking and communication, distributed systems, pervasive computing. I've been doing this for like 25 years, so as you can imagine, the kind of domains that you kind of work on with the different students, engineers, and postdocs over the years evolve. But I would say it falls largely under systems. I like building things. I like building back-end systems that support technologies that you see today. AI is a very elastic term, let's agree on that. And you know, the joke we keep making within our computer science world, especially in the last few years, is look at AI, it's doing all this. And we're like, guys, come on, we've been doing AI for 50 years. And you know, I took a course on neural networks in my undergraduate studies. So I think what happened is over the last few years, you've seen massive applications that have come to light. And of course, huge breakthroughs in core AI algorithms. But to answer your original question, while I'm somebody who's focused a lot more on systems, AI becomes a very integrated component into what we're building and what we're using. So for someone like me in my area, AI is a very fundamental tool that I will use and leverage in my research in order for us to answer or solve systems-related problems. In the world of core AI, they will focus a little bit more, for instance, on the optimization of the algorithms, of the core algorithms that help then support all of these other generic problems. How do you make those algorithms more accurate, more efficient, et cetera, et cetera. There is a lot of hype going on, not that it's unfounded or unreal. What we have experienced and what we are experiencing is definitely a major breakthrough, and a lot of change is expected to happen. I think the verdict is still out as to what is the real scale of change that we're about to witness. I am yet not there with the idea that we will replace people, but I think we will replace jobs. And people will have to find ways to complement those jobs with the skill set that they bring to the table that may be unique. It might be in the integration of uses of AI, it might be in more creative ways of leveraging AI to do other things that maybe AI on its own won't. I know now as I'm saying this and I'm talking to you, I know a lot of friends, because of course I work in this and I have a lot of contacts who will very strongly either disagree or agree with me. I think we've fallen into two camps, to be honest, at this point. And I always share with people that in order for me to talk about AI with folks, I think there are two, again, big camps. One, those who think that AI is going to replace all the jobs or most of the jobs. To those folks, my chat with them is, especially when they come to me and tell me, okay, you know, how do we educate people for a world like that? Or what are we going to change? Or what are we going to adapt? And in such scenarios for that camp, my answer is, if we really find ourselves there, what we do in education and how we do things will be the least of our problems. Because if AI can indeed deliver at that scale and at that level, I think we're going to have to ask ourselves very different questions, as in, how do we continue evolving as a civilization? How do you revisit the whole ecosystem, from self-governance to economics, to businesses, to the meaning of currency? Everything falls apart, everything. You have to start from scratch, and that is something I can't wrap my head around. There are people who are starting to look at that. You hear glimpses of that when you hear about, you know, let's start taxing AI, right? Let's start treating an AI engine as an entity that can, what's going to happen when an AI makes a decision? Can we make it liable, or the company that created it, or and those are just the tips of the iceberg if you are in that camp. My discussion is more focused on camp 2, where AI isn't really going to bring us there yet. And again, if we are, that's a whole other discussion. But in what I think is a much more, at least short-term, we're starting to see reasonable expectation is replace a lot of jobs, change how we're doing things, and how do we find ourselves in a situation now where human plus AI can do better than either one of them can do on their own. If you want to get to a place where you have this kind of digital, technological sovereignty and independence, this, by the way, is not something new with AI. We always talk within ourselves how there's this mandate of how can we move this part of the world from being consumers of technology to being producers of technology. So there's nothing really new there, I think. And what is remarkable in my mind, and I genuinely mean this, maybe I'm a little biased because I've been part of the experiment, but when you think about what this country has done and what Qatar Foundation has done with all the branch campuses, I go back to that point I was trying to make in the beginning. What does it take to build that kind of independent, homegrown kind of innovation? You need resources. Okay, you will have some of that in a financial sense. You need the right vision to invest in the right direction, which, if you ask me, is fundamentally in people. Okay, first and foremost. And I don't think you will go around and find many places that have done along the lines of investing in people like what Qatar Foundation has done. Qatar Foundation has not only supported the building of the campuses or, bringing in some academic campuses from the US and other places, but when I tell the story, I've been here, you and I were just talking, so I've been here about 18 years. I've lived most of this experiment. It's been an honor. When we tell this story, and you look at the vision ever since Her Highness started it with His Highness also the Father Emir, and you look at a full-fledged ecosystem that they are aiming for, all the way from K through 12. We want to start really early. They built, the Qatar Academies, the model schools. They have a whole ecosystem around that. And then how do you take a pipeline from there and put them at top-notch universities? And now you have the branch campuses, various universities from the US, where amongst them they formed the first multiversity in the world. We can talk more later about why that is unique in itself. But when you think about it, this is the investment in the building of talent. Now the story doesn't stop there. That is a pipeline that comes out. What are they going to do? How do they contribute to the society and community? So, well, QF also thought of that. How do we build large-scale national research centers that can start tackling national, regional, relevant problems, and those folks can start working here? Of course, we also invite folks from around the world to come, but it's kind of a two-way street, if you will. And you want people where this is home to actually work there, invest. And I can tell you of a lot of stories how our students over the years have become integral parts of those national research centers, producing a lot of the technologies you're hearing about today. And you have now a startup ecosystem and support, whether it's through QSDP, through others. So when you look at this big picture, you feel that there is a deliberate plan that, in my mind, goes all the way back to how do I do my best to make this a place where we actually create and innovate and build technology, not just consume it. And it's something that takes decades, and you need the persistence and the patience. I think we're roughly in the third decade in that experiment, and so far it seems to be showing some positive signs.